this is College of Circles. I'm Jeff, and today I'll be reviewing the 3 Monsters of Exandria box sets. This is part 2 of my Guess NPCs and Monsters bundle from Wizkids and Critical Role. You can check out part 1 using the link below in the description. I play Dungeons & Dragons and make extensive use of my miniatures. My reviews are based on how well the figures enhance gameplay at my table, how often they are likely to be used, and how much do they add to the game when used. I use a 10-point scale with 0 to 2 points in each of 5 categories. Those categories are details in the sculpt, quality of the paint application, how well the pose of the figure helps tell its story, how versatile the figure is, and how much the figure inspires me to want to create story and gameplay with it. Most figures will get a 1 in each category, with exceptional traits getting a 2 and traits that miss the mark getting a 0. At my table, I generally treat the figures literally. What the player sees in the figure is what the character sees in the game. Of course, these are all my subjective opinions and yours may differ. If you like this content and want to see more, please like, subscribe, and share. With all of that said, here's the figures. So here we have the Monster of Exandria set 1. This set consists of 8 figures, of which 5 are large, 2 medium, and we have 1 small. This set had an original MSRP of $79.99. The first figure in this set is of Sissa, an Androsphinx. While her paint and sculpt are exceptional, what really works for this figure is her pose. The way she is laying down with her paws crossed, but also sitting completely upright, shows that she is completely relaxed and highly alert. There is a good detail in the wings, and her facial expression matches her posture. Because of the type of creature she is, she won't get used much, but this is a great figure for the shelf, and one that I will look for opportunities to use. Our second figure and second Androsphinx is Kamagiori. In Critical Role, Kamagiori is Osissa's mate, and I would see no reason to deviate from that. He stands up on all fours, almost like he's protecting Osissa. The sculpt and pose are just as good as on Osissa. Unfortunately, the paint has a few issues. The white blotch in his mane may have been intentional, but it looks like a mistake and detracts from the figure overall. Our third figure is Nala, and our first PG-13 figure. This seductress from the sea has a just okay sculpt and paint job, but her pose really helps push her story and actions. I would treat her as a shape-changed sea hag. Another figure that wouldn't get used much, but I would probably build an entire session around this figure. Our fourth figure is Ukarat, a large werewolf. The detail in the fur here is great, and his pose is a perfect cliche for a werewolf. There are some errors in the paint to go along with some exceptional highlights in the fur. This is one time I would have preferred a medium figure, as that would make it easier to use for a PC with lycanthropy. As a large figure, however, it does give me the opportunity to introduce dire werewolves. Our next figure is the Mystic Iotha. This figure has so many issues, starting with the riser they use to make her fly. It has such a strong forward lean that it looks like she's about to do a face plant. She does have a fully painted face, but it's little more than 3 dots, and there is absolutely no detail in her clothes. Her pose is kind of playful, and I like the translucent wings, but there have been several other better fairy/pixie figures from Wizkids. The sixth figure is Artagan. This large elf is a giant distraction in the box, and a major reason I held off on buying this set for so long. With such a large and simple figure, errors really stand out. The face looks like an unmodded Skyrim circa 2011. The paint looks rushed. And it's hard to explain why, but I really don't like looking at this figure. And the fact that she's a large elf makes it hard to use her as a giant or as an elf. Artagan is going back to the shelf in a spot where I won't see her often. The seventh figure is Hodis. There's a lot to like here, starting with the snarling sculpt and face paint. This figure is also extremely versatile and could be a Tabaxi, Leonin, or Ligernin, or a Rakshasa. He can be an NPC or PC and will make a great monk, rogue, ranger, or barbarian. The only real issue is the sculpt, as he does have a significant lean to him already. For our final figure, we have Udugash. This imposing pit fiend has an exceptional sculpt, pose, and paint job. You can really see the detail put into the muscle definition in his back. This is about as good as it gets for devil figures. For Monsters of Exandria Set 1, we have 6 really good figures and 2 complete abominations. For $79.99 or $10 per figure, I think the value is borderline. As part of the bundle, it's definitely a good buy. Monsters of Exandria 2 also has 8 figures and sold for $79.99. This set features 5 medium and 3 large figures. Our first figure is Oban, otherwise known for me as Oban the Mouthless. Other than the face, the paint is pretty good, as is the sculpt and pose. Oban could easily be a regular fiend or a player tiefling, and is tailor-made to be a Hexblade Warlock. Our second figure is the Laughing Hand. Like the Area Nullifier, this guy is covered in mouths. His shroud leaves just enough face uncovered to reveal his grinning mouth and clenched teeth. It looks like he has another mouth in place of his right hand, with a giant blade jammed into that mouth. A really great design that gives me as a GM so much to work with. Our third figure is the Mage Hunter Golem, and I am truly perplexed here. This golem is one bad mofo, and looks like he was cobbled together by all the tools and scraps in an armorer's workshop. And then he's got this smiley cat face carved into his chest. Now I want to look at the overall figure, which is really impressive, but my eyes draw me into that face, which is just cute and silly. It's a great figure that hurts my brain to try to figure out how to use it. At 4, we have Orthax. This is the figure I would have bought this set for. A raven-skulled monstrosity rising from the smoke. He is made in translucent plastic, and it's a really excellent use of that type of plastic here. Everything about this figure is menacing and perfectly executed. This is the kind of figure that demands to be the BBEG of a campaign. I haven't decided exactly how I'm going to use him, but I do promise he will be used. Our 5th figure is Silas Briarwood. After looking at Orthax, this guy is such a letdown. Decent face paint, but paint issues everywhere else, and one of the least inspiring figures to date. The very definition of an average figure. Oh look, Mr. Completely Average has a smoking hot wife. Where have we seen this before? Delilah Briarwood is a nice looking figure with a very nice figure, and could be a sorceress, wizard, or even a bard. I would actually give her a bard stat block heavy on charm effects. For the 7th figure, we have Dr. Anna Ripley, and she splits the difference in quality between the Briarwoods. She isn't quite as spectacular as Delilah, but she looks like the figure Silas wanted to be. Really nice paint job on her face and clothes, and the pose befits her apparent personality. Our final figure, Lorenzo, is delightfully sloppy. He has paint blotches all over the place, but here it kind of works, and it fits in with his undersized yet overbellied orc with some kind of leather and metal hobby. If I ever had a player want to use this figure, I'd probably have to have a long chat with him first, but I can see bringing this guy in for occasional comic relief. Monsters of Exandria 2 has a couple of really great figures, and I've wanted that Orthax figure since the set was released. More on that later. It's not a bad set, but looking at it in the box, I never felt like the figures justified the price tag. Now that you can get it as part of a bundle, I'm glad I have it, but I can't say I would have ever bought this on its own. Our last box set is Monsters of Exandria 3, which came out later than the other 2 sets, only cost $69.99, and had just 5 figures, 3 of which were large and 2 medium. Figure 1 in set 3 is Simfior. This creature is on a medium base, but it is clearly a small, if not tiny, creature. It looks like a winged boggle. It also has a forward-leaning riser, but it works better here than it did for the Mystic Iotha. This guy looks like he could be an anti-Cupid, and I would probably use him to spread discord through the party. Our second figure is the Abyssal Abomination, but I'm going to be treating this as an Illilich. with an emphasis on the lich side. This has a really creepy sculpt and great paint on the body and tentacles. The face paint is lackluster, as is the pose. This figure could have been the best, but is just a little underwhelming in a couple key areas. The third figure is the Naga Abomination. The pose of this human-faced Hydra immediately reminds me of the Hydra from Might and Magic 6, The Mandate of Heaven, which I still contend is a top 5 all-time RPG. The Naga here has 6 heads, and each head is unique. The paint is vibrant and well applied, and the scales are detailed throughout the body. Overall, a very well made and effective figure. Our fourth figure is Gurix, the second pit fiend from the Monsters of Exandria, and this one really suffers in comparison to Udugash. Where Udugash's muscles look chiseled in stone, Gurix looks like he could probably stand to hit the gym a little more often. Maybe he's the Devil Lord of dough balls. Other than his size, there is nothing exceptional about this figure. Oh, Gurix, why are you letting your servant overshadow you? Now this is without a doubt the best figure in the entire bundle. The sculpt is well detailed throughout the armor and feathers. The paint is almost perfect with the shading in the feathers, shiny armor, a legible mask on its face, nice flourishes in the attire. Also, the hilt is painted different than the blade, a detail often missed at Wizkids. The pose is dynamic and shows a warrior entering battle. There are details that can make this figure any combination of PC or NPC, a rogue, bard, ranger, fighter, Aarakocra, winged tiefling, Aasimar, or just as it was intended, a devil. Every figure can't be perfect, but the Servant of Gurix certainly is. The Monsters of Exandria 3 box set is the cheapest of the 3 sets, but at $69.99 for 5 figures, the average cost is a whopping $14 a figure. Now, as much as I love the Servant of Gurix, and this will be my next PC character, the rest of the figures in the set do not justify that price. Overall, the Guess NPCs and Monsters bundle would have cost $459.94 if bought separately, or $885 per figure. The bundle is selling for $200, or $385 per figure. Personally, I'm starting to have an issue with Wizkids' strategy. Now, I'm fine with the booster boxes and sets with some common to rare figures, and generally a corresponding quality based on rareness. You get 4 figures averaging $4 to $5 a figure depending on the set. Some look like crap, but you almost always get a really good miniature and the average price is reasonable. However, with these box sets, we get prices like premium figures, but the quality doesn't correspond to premium quality. Now, I play a GM in a game store and have been looking at all these box sets for well over a year and have always passed on buying them, mainly because in their packaging, the bad figures stand out as much as the good ones, and makes the perceived value of the entire set drop, at least for me. For these box sets, Wizkids really needs to have more consistent quality control. As for the bundle, at $200, buy it while they're available. In fact, if you're just starting out as a GM, I would suggest getting this bundle before anything else. The sheer number and variety of figures you get could sustain several months of gameplay. Well, that was the Guess NPCs and Monsters bundle. Thank you for watching, and please leave a comment below about my reviews. I am passionate about Dungeons & Dragons and my miniatures, and would love to hear what you think about my comments. As always, I'm Jeff. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.